Welcome to the new episode of Home Visit with Tyler Siskey and the Associates, joined by my man, DJ Eliot. DJ, how are we doing this wonderful Monday morning?
I tell you what, man, if I was any better, okay, I'd be the president of the United States. I'm doing great, man.
That's pretty good. You see what hat I'm rocking today, right?
Tiger Woods, y'all.
Making his comeback this weekend.
Boom.
How about that?
Yep.
So I'm fired up. Tiger week for me. You know, nobody else cares but me. I like my Tiger's my guy. Hey, we'll start it off. There wasn't a lot. The Army-Navy game was awesome this past weekend. I don't know what it is about that, man. I like watching it every year. It makes me feel, I think, patriotic. But the news that bothered me this weekend was the Heisman. I think the right guy won, okay, but the other guys that were there, I think there were two people that wasn't there that should have finished second and third, and I feel like I'm the wrong guy here. And I'm going to get your opinion on this, but if I was to do a ballot, which they'll never give me a Heisman ballot, but if I was to do one, I think the right guy won. I think Bryce Young won. He deserved it and ran away with it. I don't think there's any question about that. But Matt Corral and Will Anderson being left out and not even there, in my opinion, they were the number two, Matt Corral and then Will Anderson. Like, the people that were there didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Maybe besides the Pitt quarterback, you can sell me on that one. But the C.J. Stroud and the D lineman from Michigan, I don't get it.
No, Will Anderson had a lot better stats than Aiden Hutchinson, the D lineman from Michigan. He just didn't get a lot of hype, and for some reason, the Heisman is like running for office. It's voters that are in the media, and it's former Heisman Trophy winners, and it's crazy because it comes down to sometimes just the hype that you get. You remember the years ago when it was Joey Arrington, when Oregon paid for his poster to be put in Times Square, and that was because becoming the Heisman Trophy winner sometimes is running a campaign. That's the reality of it. But I agree with you. If it was based on just the way he played on the field, Will Anderson has the best stats of any edge rusher in the country, okay, and has played the best teams in the country, and I think he's tremendous.
Yeah, if you go and you put Matt Corral, let's put Matt Corral at Ohio State with those receivers. How do you think it ends up for them? Correct.
Yeah. Or how about what is it? Jordan Davis, is that the D lineman at Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes. So he'll never get it because it's being voted on by media and by former Heisman Trophy winners. But I tell you what, if it was being voted on by coaches, he'd been in that top five. Because nose guards don't make a lot of plays. They don't, period. Their position isn't put there to make plays. They're there to take plays away. They're there to change the game. And, Jimbo used to always say, hey, guys, how important a nose guard is? He doesn't make a lot of plays in the game, but guess what? In the NFL, he makes a lot of money. And the reason he makes a lot of money is because it's not the plays he makes, it's the plays he takes away.
Yeah.
They change the game. They completely change the game, a great nose guard like that.
Yeah, I don't know. How would the Heisman be if it was voted on by coaches? You think that would be a popular thing?
The only thing is people would probably say that there would be, some agendas in it because coaches would be trying to get their guys in it, or coaches would be trying to get the guy they rival in recruiting, his guy not in it. So that would be the only thing. People would probably say that there would be agendas. But if there was no agenda in it and coaches were just solely making the decisions based on the play of the guys out there, then I think Matt Corral would have been in it. I think Jordan Davis would have been in it. I think Will Anderson would have been in it.
Agree.
Me personally.
The other thing you're going to get, and this is probably the most validated argument that you'll get, is people don't realize this, but as coaches, you don't get to watch a lot of football. You get to watch it on film, the guys you're playing against, and if you get them on film, now you watch that, you dissect that kind of game. Like if you're an SEC coach, you know the SEC inside and out, upside down, okay? But when it comes to Pac-12 and Pac-12 after dark, you're long gone. You're checked out and moving on to the next one. But, fun fact, remember when the coaches poll used to be a big deal back in the day?
Yeah.
I was a GA at Arkansas State with Steve Roberts, and he got tired of sending his vote in, so I got to send his vote in. I got to vote as a GA. I was representing the coaches poll, and he said, "Look, I'm going to let you do this." He goes, "Because I know you watch a little bit more than I do." He said, "So I'm going to let you do the coaches poll ballot. Good thing he's not in coach anymore. They'll never send him another ballot if this ever got out. But as a GA, I got to do the his coaches poll ballot. He said the only thing I require, and I had to do it every week, and he's not joking, is, and back then Duke wasn't very good. And, I mean, they were terrible. He says you have to vote Duke number 25 every week because he was a Duke fan. So I had to vote Duke number 25. And they were like one – I don't know what their record was, but they were like, 1 in 10 or 1 in whatever it was. And they were getting a 25 vote in the top 25 every week. So
that's crazy. That is funny.
Well, this week, as listeners are listening to this, it's Monday morning for us, obviously, but for everybody else, signing day is on Wednesday, and it used to be a big deal. Signing day was like Christmas Day, man. It was exciting. I think it's lost so much luster with the portal and with the early signing day combined with the portal. I think this is just going to be like the biggest letdown. I love it on social media, all these sites are like pumping up signing day special, and it's sad. I mean, it's just kind of lost all of its luster. You know what I mean?
It has. One thing that was big too was the All-Star games. Guys, the companies that would run the All-Star games would encourage the recruits not to make their announcement on where they're going until they got to the All-Star game, and that would get more viewers at the All-Star game. Well, now these All-Star games are past signing day. They're after signing day, right? And so you don't have that effect. And then you just don't have the same media attention that you used to get on signing day. I can remember when I was at Florida State, we found out, about 5 of our kids committing on ESPN on signing day. We'd be in there watching it. Yay! It doesn't have that same feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
Everybody pretty much knows who they got, and it's locked up. And
there's going to be
they'll do the rankings and move on.
Yeah, the thing that's crazy to me is, so last week, what we're doing with Quick Recruiting and Quick U, last week I was helping one of our friends had got a head job, and so I was helping him basically try to get going through some players that were uncommitted or whatever. This blows my mind, and if they're and we got a lot of college coaches listening, and they're going to know exactly what I'm saying. A lot of high school coaches are out there. I have never seen a cycle go through to where we're 2 days away from, or as you're listening, the day of being over, and the amount of talent out there that has nothing. I'm talking about there are guys all over the country that are real, that I would be dying to sign a couple years ago. I'm talking about really, really, really good football players that don't have anything. I'm talking about don't have the first offer. I was talking to a high school coach the other day, and there's a kid that I would say, if I was guessing, I would say he's kind of a group of 5, Power 5 guy. He's kind of in there, and he has one Division II offer. Division II offer. That's the school that's close to him. But 3 years ago, I would consider him a group of 5, Power 5, like right on that cut line, right, one of those kind of guys.
Right.
And he has one Division II offer. And I know we talked about this, well even before. It's funny because from when this rule came out, we talked about this on the podcast before you were even on here. But this is going to happen. High school coaches are panicking. They're like, because they've been coaching. They're not idiots. They know what good players look like, and they've coached them. And they're going like, "Why is my guy not getting recruited? Why is my guy not getting recruited?" And it's all because of the portal. Yeah. We can call it what we want to call it, but that's the reason. Coaches, I will say this. I was talking to not one of our good buddies, but I was talking to another FBS head coach last week. And we were talking about how different it is and how crazy it is. Because I called him and said, "Hey, man, are you not recruiting this guy?" And he's like, I said, "What's wrong with him?" I said, because I'm trying to help somebody. I said, "Well, I knew he knew more than I did." So I called him and I said, because the guy's like 15 minutes from his campus. When you got an FBS player 15 minutes from your campus, is more than you want to know. And so I said, what has he done? Is he not qualified? He goes, he is a great player. He said, we just can't take him because, one, we're on better. And I shook my head. I was like, you're on better? He's like, yeah, we're on better. And then I said, two is, we're going to save some spots. And he goes, I honestly believe, and this was probably the most true statement I've heard through this cycle. He says, I think the winner of this new recruiting way that's going on right now is going to be the person who has the most spots available the day before classes start. He goes, I think that's who's going to win, who's going to become a great football team. Who has the most spots available, most scholarships available before the start of classes. That's the new mentality that's coming from an FBS head coach, okay? Who has the most scholarships available the day before classes start? And I don't. So
the new signing day is August, is what you're telling me? The new signing day is August. That's when we need to wait around.
Well, there's two. No, he said there is an early signing day. It's the day before January classes and the day before August classes. And it starts off, cuts off in July, but you can get the point. Yes. I mean, it's
you know what? There's actually some merit to that because
there is because these
but when
I
first got into college coaching, everything was about the senior evaluation. Everybody wanted to evaluate them their senior film, and I honestly think the early commitments. I believe that was started by Urban Meyer, and now everybody was getting guys to commit early, way before their senior year. Mac Brown used to get guys to commit way early. He used to get them to commit way before their senior year, and then now that's kind of the trend in Power 5 football, especially for high school kids. And I think what you found is there was the guys that were late developers. There were guys that maybe as a junior they maxed out, and other guys as a senior they passed them. And it's kind of the same philosophy with what you're saying, is that getting on guys early, you're depleting your options, and maybe it's best to wait it out to the end and see exactly what all your options are before you make a decision. And there's a lot of merit to that, because as college coaches, we've always said guys that got on guys too early missed out on some late bloomers.
Yeah, the biggest mistake when you had to be really careful when you're taking, when you're in a SEC school, that's you're doing your evaluation on junior film, okay, and
Correct.
Sometimes sophomore film.
Correct.
And there were two issues, right? One, just what you said, you missed on guys who were late bloomers, guys who developed late, and then two, you missed on a lot of kids, right, wrong, or indifferent. They committed and they forgot what got them there. They lost their edge.
Yeah.
They didn't work, and they actually became. I mean, it probably happens in 1 out of every 10 players, I'd say, that actually become worse players as seniors than they were as juniors because, they get lazy. They like, they lose they're not humble anymore. They got the big head, whatever you want to call it, and they get worse. And so you had to be very careful on the right guy, to take the right guys back then, but. The thing with the portal, here's where it's kind of funny because I saw it on Twitter. It'll be a big deal this week, and it'll be a big deal going in the spring. And everybody's like, I don't know how we're going to keep up with all these scholarships and losing scholarships and all that stuff. I'm like, well, no shit. We've been talking about it they know, college coaches know, but fans are just now starting to pick up on the fact that, wait a minute, these guys that were talking about this past summer, they may know what they're talking about, is – the number one thing that you're going to have to do, which we'll talk about in a second, is you're going to have to recruit your own players, okay, to stay. All right, you want to lose. I will say this. If they continue to put the rule at 32, I'd make sure I lost 7 every year. I think that rule's in there. You can go basically it's like how my kids are now. Back when I was in school, if you screwed up on a math test, you screwed up on a math test. Now they give you like 14 chances to take it over again until you get it right because everybody's got to get a trophy. All right, and it never teaches them a failure. And I'm a big believer now. I mean, a mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it. You know what I mean? Right. Like you need failure in your life. If you don't ever fail, you're never going to succeed because you don't understand. I think that's where you learn, right? And I guess my point of the drill is this: is like if you sign a class of kids and you miss 7 times, do you know how much I would have liked to go in and said, "Hey, because look, we all miss." Okay, anybody that says they don't miss on a recruit is full of shit. Okay, everybody misses. All right, could you go back and take 7 of them and get rid of 7 mistakes in a class? Holy smokes, man! I sure would be a better recruiter if I could do that and go pick up and go bring in 7 guys to replace them that I know can already play. I mean, that's like cheating. That's like having all the cheat codes in the video games.
Right.
But it is what it is. But lots of good players with nothing out there. I know that. But what about this, DJ? Here's my question that nobody seems to have an answer for me.
Okay.
If I'm a college coach, all right, if I'm not doing what I'm doing right now, and I'm still across the street and I'm running recruiting, right, I'm going to be portal heavy. I am. But it's just how, because you don't have time anymore to build anything. And if you say, oh, yeah, sure you do. Okay, look at the coaching carousel. Does anybody believe that we have time? Okay?
Right.
We're going through it right now. You don't have time to do anything anymore.
No.
My man Ed Orgeron won a national championship 2 years ago. He's in Destin right now at the beach, unemployed, less than 2 years later. You don't have time to do that anymore, right? So from a college coach's perspective, they're going to try to keep winning as fast as they can. But if you keep – I want to see if you can answer this question for me. If you keep taking portal guys, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. Aren't you eventually going to run out of portal guys because nobody's recruiting high school players anymore to go to college?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yep, that's a fair assessment. If
everybody keeps taking all these portal guys, there's nobody coming in the. You got to continue. There's got to be.
Yes, everybody I think is going to. Well, here's what's happening right now. Who are the guys that are getting the most high school football players? I think are at the top.
Correct.
I think the Alabamas. I think the Georgias. They're getting the most high school players. Okay, and so. Is it their second team guys? They're guys that aren't getting in the field they're getting into the portal, and then those guys are now being grabbed by everybody below them. So maybe they're the ones recruiting the portal more heavily. And then I think what's going to change too is right now the high school players that end up being good players at lower level divisions, they're getting recruited by the upper level divisions because they did a good job. Right? So if those schools at the bottom start taking less high school players, then there's going to be less of those players to be grabbed by the schools at the top. Now, the schools at the top are going to continue to take high school players, and so their guys that aren't getting on the field are going to continue to enter the portal. So I anticipate the portal numbers will go down because, like you said, there's going to be less high school players to choose from. And remember, the portal rule is once you transfer, you can't transfer again. You're stuck. Now, you know the place where recruiting has gone basically to zero because of the portal is junior college. I talked to some junior college coaches, and they're not getting recruited at all. At all, because that used to be where we would go to get a veteran player that could play right away, and that's not the case anymore. Now you can go get the portal, and you don't have to recruit at junior college. So the junior college is the one, along with high school, that is really, really suffering.
And DJ, you were not an associate at that time. But when this rule passed right in the middle of us starting this podcast, I literally, that was the next sentence out of my mouth is, why would you ever go recruit a junior college player ever again? Junior college is the one that's going to get screwed on this deal. And the high school kids too. But
one place where I got this information too is there's a group of 5 school that's cleaning up in the JCs.
Yep.
They're like, man, we're getting players out of the JCs we never could have got.
I said that too. If I was and I told a couple of my buddies that were group of 5, I said, if I was a group of 5 school, okay, you're going to be able to get a better quality player out of JUCO because the big boys aren't recruiting them anymore. They're not because they're going to get portal guys. It's just it's a whole different line of thinking. But going back to what I was saying with good players left in the portal, good high school players left with nothing is there's a group of 5 schools that are getting high school players to commit that they have no business recruiting. Okay, I know a group of 5 schools that are signing what I considered SEC players 3 years ago. Okay, they're signing a higher quality player, and they don't feel the need to stretch. Okay, because they can go, the portal's so active and going, they don't feel the need to stretch. And if you are at a group of 5 school, like you just said, it's safer for you to take a portal guy because you don't ever have to worry about that guy leaving you. Okay, you take a lot of high school guys, now you're worried about that guy leaving. So
correct.
That's that. So talking about the portal, we had some big news come out yesterday on the portal. The first thing is, like we talked about, I don't know if it was last week before last, is our good friend Quinn Ewers. He decided, he took our advice. He must be listening to the podcast. He went to Texas. Yep. So he is fixing to make more money in NIL than he could ever imagine. So
correct.
And a good thing for
Texas. He may never play it down. He's going to
never played it down. He's got 4 years to play for. Probably will never see 4 years because he's that good. But if he does, you got a quarterback. You don't have to worry about him leaving. Big pickup for Texas. And don't be surprised. I don't know this, okay, but Quinn Ewers going to Texas is going to affect the Arch Manning sweepstakes. I believe that. So I think that Texas was, if you could say who was in the lead, I would say that they were probably in the lead. I think that opens the door for the Georgia Bulldogs. I do. And don't be surprised if Oklahoma doesn't make a push on him pretty soon. So with Levy being in Oklahoma now. So good for them. For Texas getting Quinn Ewers. And then the other one that's going to since we're in SEC land here, it's going to get going to be a lot of heat down in Auburn, Alabama today because Bo Nix and Tank Bigsby are hitting the portal. So your two best players shot the deuce. Okay.
How about that?
And let me tell you something. And we said at the beginning of the year, I still say it. Tank Bigsby is the best running back in the SEC. Now, You look and you watch his stats and all that stuff, and you're like, well, he didn't do it this year. Well, he's still good, okay? He's still the most talented kid in the league. He's going to end up going somewhere and blowing up. How good? I do not know this, okay? I do not know this. But you know who's one quarterback away from being really freaking good?
Who's that?
I'm talking about really freaking good. The Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, yeah. I already thought they were really good, so that's why I didn't even bring them up.
What if they had Bo Nix at quarterback, though?
I know. They would be dominant. But that's why I didn't even mention Georgia, because they're already really, really good. But you're right. If they had another good quarterback, they would be even better. I will tell you this, though. I'm just going to be devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
Dave Aranda takes over at Baylor, and they go through their first season during COVID. They only won 2 games, and his starting quarterback, who's been the starting quarterback there for 4 years, transfers and goes to Utah, along with some other players. And Dave Aranda just keeps chopping wood, and even in his post-game interview when he won the Big 12 championship, they said, what is the difference? And he said, well, the guys that are here bought into a new way of doing things. They had success doing things a different way, okay, but they opened themselves up and recognized that maybe there's a different way to do things that can still be successful, and the guys that are here did that. And he had some players on his team that were some of the best players on his team that transferred and went somewhere else, and without them, he won the Big 12 championship. So, maybe there's some of that, cultural change and shift and philosophy that is going to go in Brian Harson's way too. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And let's talk. I want to talk about 2 things here, and one's with roster management and the NCAA. For whatever reason, they never were for the last 20 years. They've always all right, we're making a rule, by God, and this is what it's going to be, and you have to adapt to the rule or you're going to die. Okay, but all of a sudden we're starting to get this feeling that the NCAA has started moving the goalpost a little bit. Okay, in my opinion, I think. Because here's what's going to happen. I mean, we can sit here y'all have heard me say this 1,000 times. The taxes are going to be due at some point in time by taking all these portal guys. Okay, and what I mean by that is, this year it's at 32, right? But sooner or later, you're going to be so below 85 with taking these older transfers that it's going to kill scholarship numbers across the NCAA. Okay, the taxes are going to be due at some point in time. COVID masked a lot of that. Then it hurt it again. All right. So I wouldn't be surprised if the NCAA looks up here in a couple of years and goes, oh, shit, and they do something about moving the roster number. Moving the 85. They're going to have to do something, not the 85, excuse me. They're going to have to do some more things with the initials to keep everybody in balance, because right now it's a runaway train, okay? And, coaches are forced, like we said, they're forced basically. I understand it because you forced their hand by win or you're gone, so they got to win, but there's a cost for that, and the taxes are due. So that'll be interesting. But here's my question for you, and this is so hilarious to me, okay? I never was for it the first time. I know everybody else was. But I've been an advocate of it being in February. But now, all of a sudden, again, because we can't see this far in front of our face, it's like you can't see the forest because the trees are in the way, because they never think down the line, oh, now we want to move signing day back again. Well, no shit. I mean, you want to move. We told you that 3 years or 4 years ago. We told you that this was going to happen, and it's like, oh man, we got to move it back now because it's affecting, hiring, and coaches are coming in and they don't have time to recruit. Well, no shit. Like, I'm so frustrated, man, with like, we're making these rules and we don't think we don't look if we do this and this happens, what do? We got a problem. Oh, it'll be all right. We'll work it out. No. Do you believe do you think the signing day should be moved back? I
know when I was coaching, I sure did like it early, but
yeah, no, you like it. No, that part is accurate. But I'm just talking about because from the betterment of the sport.
I know, but I'm just going to give you my perspective as a coach first. I sure did like enjoying my holidays because I knew that my mission was over. Because when it wasn't early, you were recruiting all the way through Christmas, and it was dead, and so you had to get to kids, and you can't get a hold of them. And I mean, your holidays were not near as enjoyable as they were once they had the early signing day.
But if you were a head coach and you got a head coaching job, you wouldn't like it very much.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably
no,
not.
The assistants loved it now. I'll go ahead and tell you that. Yes. The assistants, I'm with you on that. From the assist, and I think, to be honest with you, that's where a lot of these rules came up. It was the coaches got together or whoever, ADs, and were like, man, this is like, it's getting crazy. And it is. But again, it's like, it's basically like this. You either have to work hard and grind, or you're killing, you don't give coaches chances. You lose that recruiting class. And not to say you're really, even when signing day was in February, right? Yeah. When signing day was in February and you got a job, you got a chance to realistically put together what I call a half of a class, okay? And depending on what move you made, right? So if you were moving from, like, when we came from Arkansas State to Ole Miss, we were recruiting two different types of kids, right? So you didn't have the relationships that you needed to have with those kids to really know, to be able to recruit them, and you kind of had to go with the guys you had relationships with. But if you're going from like Mario's going from Oregon to Miami, he already knows those kids, man. He could go put together a bona fide class together in Miami in February than instead of one happening on Wednesday.
Right.
So, but anyway, it is what it is. But I think they should move it back and just leave it, because that's the only way with all these coaching changes, and it's not slowing down. It's the only way to really survive and give coaches a fair chance to do anything to keep their job. All right, the last thing I want to talk about, I got two more things I want to talk about in recruiting. The first thing I want to talk about, and since it's like a semi-recruiting special today, a lot of stuff came out last week, and these companies are starting to be exposed. There's two companies out there, man, and I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to say their name. But there's two companies out there. It's not hard to find. You can go look at my man Matt Dudek at Mississippi State, his Twitter, and then my guy Matt Wilson at Arkansas State. They went after him on Twitter last week because they put out this tweet saying, Mississippi State called and got our 23 and 24 list, and then they said the same thing with Arkansas State, and they didn't. And these services are charging these kids, or not the kids, they're charging the families, are paying up to $5,000 a year, okay, to help them get recruited, okay? If you're a parent out here listening, spread the word. If you're and college coaches know, okay? Let me explain something to you about these recruiting services. There's two out there right now, okay? And again, I'm not trying to get sued. If you want to look at Matt Dudek or Matt Wilson's Twitter, So Matt Dudek is the general manager, director of player personnel, I don't know his title, at Mississippi State, and Matt Wilson's the same guy at Arkansas State, okay? And they kind of said they went after him. You can see who they went after. Okay, I actually retweeted them, so I just retweeted Matt, and I thought it was great. But here's what they do, is they sit there and they say, oh, we got connections with all these college coaches and all this stuff. And they have packages they put together up to $5,000. And they said they're promising kids scholarships, okay? And they're going to get you in front of college coaches. Well, let me explain to you, parents, if you're out there listening, or any fan out there, spread the word, because this is what happens. And I'm sure, DJ, you were the same way, because you probably know exactly the two I'm talking about. Every day that I would come into the office, every single day, I would have between 200 to 300 emails from one of these services, okay? And, I mean, I'm in Alabama, and they're sending me a 5'7", 260-pound left tackle. Like, we're not recruiting you. And they're like, and they would tell the parents, oh, I sent your stuff to Alabama today. And the parents are like, yeah, my son's going to play at Alabama. Because parents aren't realistic, okay? They have rose-colored glasses on, and they think they're buying their kid a scholarship. All right, point number one. In 22 years of coaching, not one kid that I ever, at any program that I was ever at, was ever sent to me by a recruiting service. Not the first one. And that's at FCS level, that's at the Group of 5 level, and the Power 5 level. Not one. Not the first one. Did I even recruit, not sign, did I even recruit from one of these services? Okay?
Right.
And here's how they get them, right? We're going to get you a scholarship. So they got buddies and things like that, like these D3 and NAIA schools. And so I know this happens for a fact. What they'll do is they'll call down to Jacksonville. I'm just throwing one out there. I don't even think they play anymore, but like Jacksonville University, okay, in Florida. If they were a D3 school, it may cost $40,000 to go to school there, and they'll get you a $500. Some guys, hey, give him $500 in books. Okay, so they'll get you a $500 book scholarship. Hey, congratulations, your new bill is $39,500 for the year. Thank you. But we got you a scholarship. You know, we didn't get you a full scholarship. We got you books, or we got you meals, or whatever it is. But they prey on these kids, man, and they prey on these families, and it just happens year after year after year after year after year, and they have no results. They have no results, and just make sure you're very aware of that. If you're a parent or you know somebody that's in the recruiting process, these recruiting services, like, it's probably a good time to remind everybody that what we do at Quick Recruiting and what we do at Quick U, we don't charge. How about this? It's completely free to the kids, and it's completely free to the high schools, okay? It doesn't cost $1. That's how recruiting service is supposed to be. I'm so tired of these freaking services out there charging these families and just taking advantage of them. I mean, it is a con. It's what it is. It's a professional con. And these families just keep dumping money into them. Oh, well, we're going to – and here's what will surprise you is most of the people that do this are well-educated people, and they're smart people. And they think that some service is going to help their kid get recruited, okay? And that's not the case. Example, the kid – I'll tell people all the time, look, I'm not promising anybody scholarships. I'm not. Only thing I can promise you is you're going to get looked at if you're in the system. That's it. You're going to get looked at. You're going to get evaluated. Okay? They may say you're terrible, but you're going to get evaluated. But I don't know. I'm frustrated with that. So you got anything you want to say on that one? Because I know you're probably pissed
I think you covered it all. So I don't know if there's any more to say.
It gets me hot, man. I mean, it's been going on forever. But anyway. And then the last thing, and this is not football, but I thought it was kind of comical. The Auburn, after 4 years of investigation, the sanctions came down on Auburn basketball. Yeah. And basically, Bruce Pearl had to sit out 2 games. He couldn't coach Saturday. He can't coach this Tuesday. They lost, got like a $5,000 fine and and probation for a while. Lost 2 scholarships.
Yeah, it was pretty light.
After coach, the assistant coach got arrested by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, like the FBI, and that's what they got.
I mean, Auburn's they've gotten away with with a couple of these now that have worked out in their favor.
Hey, I can tell you this: if you're an Ole Miss fan, you need to find out who their attorney was, and you need to put that guy on retainer. I don't know who it is. I want to find out who the attorney and who did that. I want to know who did the who did the bargaining with the NCAA from Auburn's behalf. That guy is awesome. Like, I want that guy on retainer. I don't care what it costs. Seriously, are you kidding me right now? Like, is this a joke? And look, I mean, think about it. Here's what you do. You just put this guy on retainer, DJ, okay? Yeah. And you just go cheat your balls off. I mean, they went to a Final Four, cuz. They almost won a national title. They played for it. They should have won a national title. And they got their head coach can't coach 2 basketball games. Like, what? I mean, what are we doing? So here we go.
We got to stop recording this thing because I'm laughing too hard.
I know. Let's go. I mean, geez, man, Christmas. So yeah, I tell you this: if I ever got back in it ever, I'm gonna go find out. I'm putting that guy on my own retainer. He's getting half my salary. Whoever the attorney or negotiator, I'm finding out. I'm paying him. He's getting half my salary every year up front. He's gonna be like my agent. So everything goes through him. So I mean, geez, man, Christmas. All right. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I'm just.
Oh.
All right.
That's classic.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so let's move on. So the coaching carousel, like last week, the Miami stuff went down pretty much right after we got through recording. In case you're under a rock, Mario's now at Miami. But how about my man Manny Diaz going to Penn State, man?
Penn State, man. Yep.
So that tells me
in a heartbeat.
Hey, you know what that tells me though? That tells me he did not have mitigation in his contract. So he's going to get his money from Miami, and he's fixing to get his money from Penn State. So look, Manny's probably pissed off, but he's going to have a nice Christmas. I can tell you that.
All right, he's going to be the highest paid coordinator in the Big Ten. That's for sure.
Probably ever. I mean, ever the highest paid coordinator that's ever been paid. So what did he get? He get 8. Is that what his number was? 8 or 9?
Well, yep. He got 8. And Mario got 8 a year.
Yeah, that's good. He got 8 for his buyout. Mario got 8 a year. But yeah, I mean, he got $8 million, and it's probably getting what, 2, probably right at 2 to be at Penn State. $10 million Christmas, not a bad gig.
Yeah,
if you can get it. But look, I'm still pissed off about it. It wasn't handled the right way. But I'm glad for Manny to be able to move on and let's go. Next thing was, did you see the Dan Lanning saga that happened on Friday?
I mean, I heard about it.
All right, so I did too. I got some inside stuff, right? So I don't know. So Dan Lanning basically was offered the job. Okay, this is to my understanding. Now, it could be completely false. So I'm just telling you it's as close as I can get. Okay, last time I got as close as I can get when Lincoln Riley had taken the LSU job too, right? So here we go.
Yeah.
They were basically just negotiating how and all that stuff of coaching in the playoff versus being at Oregon, yada, yada, yada. So he starts calling around, getting his staff together, okay? And then word leaks, I guess, to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that he's going to be the next head coach at Oregon. He's putting his staff together. So they go ahead, everybody's got to be breaking news. So they go ahead and put it out there. Well, it pisses the Oregon people off to the point where it almost cost Dan Lanning the job. Now, I do know this for a fact. Jimmy Sexton was on the phone, and it took some, Jimmy being Jimmy, and that's why he's the best in the business and always will be.
Right.
Okay, but I thought it was kind of like childish a little bit on Oregon's part to come out and say, to put out to their press people, because we know who leaks information. They put it out that there has not been an offer, and they want if you're going to hire the guy anyway, just don't say anything, because now it's a bad PR deal. It just looks stupid. But anyway, Dan Lanning ends up going to, but it almost cost him the job. That's the point I was going to make, but it didn't. So everything worked out there. And then the last thing that we have to bring up, we have officially now, it's official, we have good home visit karma. Because my man and previous guest on home visit, Mike McIntyre, is the new head coach, our buddy, at Florida International, FIU. How about that?
I think that's fantastic. I mean, such a good guy and an excellent coach, and one that knows how to win at that level. Here's a guy that goes to San Jose State when they're about to drop football. I mean, talk about low budgets and no support. They were at the point where they didn't even want the football program anymore. And he takes that team to an 11-2 season. And they have been a contender ever since he left. They've been a contender out there ever since he's left. He could truly built a program there. And then goes to Colorado and has a 10-2 year, and he's the coach of the year, the AFCA football coach of the year.
2016
okay?
won basically every coaching award ever, right?
Yes, every coaching award ever. I mean, over every college coach in the country. And so here's a guy that's done it at 2 programs. Okay, he's turned it around at 2 programs. But on top of that, his dad played at Miami. A lot of people don't realize this. His dad played at Miami. He was born down there. I mean, he has some ties, and he knows how to run a program at that in that type of situation, and he's going to do a tremendous job.
I only have one complaint. Okay.
What's that?
I only have one complaint on Mike Mack. All right, he has forgotten that he is now in the Eastern time zone. And he has called me. He called me this morning at 6:05 local time this morning. I was like, bro. He's like, look, now I'm not coaching anymore. 6:05 early. The kids aren't even up yet, so my alarm goes off at 6:30. Yep. So he called me at 6:05 this morning. But no, he forgot. Now if he was on Central time zone, he'd be fine. But I think he forgets whatever time zone everybody's on. So. If you know Mike Mack and you're out in Colorado or California, then he's probably going to call you at 3 in the morning. So he's
be ready.
Be ready to go.
But I'll tell you what he'll do. He'll do what he did at San Jose. He followed Oklahoma State. He was really the second school to do it with the satellite camps.
Yep.
And he did them all up and down the California coast, and that's how he built this team. He got really good in-person evaluations of players, and those were guys that went on to be great players. He even brought half of those guys his first year to Colorado, and those were his seniors on the team that went 10-2. Were from those satellite camps in California. And he'll do the same thing in Florida. He'll go up and down the Florida coast, and he'll find some players.
He doesn't have to go far.
No, he doesn't.
And fun fact, Mike McIntyre, the best in-person evaluator I've ever seen with my own eyes. He's phenomenal. I mean, he when he sees them, I mean, he's good. He doesn't miss very much when he sees them in person.
Well, let's put it this way: at Colorado, that 10-2 season, he had 3 defensive backs that were drafted in the first 3 rounds. 3 defensive backs, I think, that went in the first 3 rounds from that 10-2 season. Then the next year, okay, he had a corner that went in the 2nd round. So all those guys were on the same team. All those
probably
guys
none of them had offers coming out of high school. That's what I'm saying.
None of them. Yeah, none of them. Yeah, they were all. Yeah, the best they could get was Colorado, and like I said, half of them were committed to San Jose.
And the running back too, right? Philip Lindsey, the running back.
Philip Lindsey, yeah, Philip
was
Lindsey,
undrafted free agent. Now is a dude in the NFL.
Yeah, he's already been to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, it's just he's really. I'm excited for him, minus the fact that he's in the Eastern Standard Time Zone.
Yeah.
Besides that, where everything's good, but no, I'm so happy for him, man. But hey, the home visit karma. So we've had now. So Hugh comes on to do the. Let's talk about this home visit karma now. So Hugh comes on, does the very first show. Okay, he got $4 million contract. Okay, so then we've had Rich Rod on. So Rich Rod gets the head job at Jacksonville State. We've had John Summerall on. He gets the head job at Troy. We got Mario gets the nice bump and raise and moves on to Miami. And now Mike Mack has got the job at FIU. So I'm just telling you, DJ, I mean, the Patriots are going to be coming calling this time next year.
Hey, as many episodes as I've done, I should be the head coach of the Patriots.
Yeah, you should just take over for Roger Goodell. You should just go straight to being commissioner. All right, so moving on, we're going to start talking about bowl games here. I want to ask you a question. I got my opinion, but I want to ask you a question. As a coach and as a let's go coach first.
Right.
What is your feeling on players opting out of bowl games?
I would rather them not. I mean, I respect the guys that stay and play the whole season. I think it's each player's decision, and it's up to them and their family, and they're thinking about their future. But I really respect the guys that play the whole season. You know, the bowl game is a part of the season. And so guys that play the entire season are the ones that have my respect. That's how I'll phrase it.
Yeah. You know, I think Christian McCaffrey, if I'm not mistaken, was like the first person to really get to do it when he was at Stanford. And then it's become a thing, man. And you got guys now, in my opinion. I mean, if you're going to be the first pick of the draft, I mean, I get it. I don't. It's weird. Like I kind of have mixed emotions about it. I'm with you. There's part of me, the way I grew up, that it's almost like quitting a little bit. I can see that argument, but I can see the other side. I don't like it, man. It's like it loses. It's almost like I'm with you. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place on this one.
Everybody's in a different situation, so I can't say, you know.
Correct. I'm with you there. Exactly. No,
I can't say that it's right for everybody. All I can tell you is I really respect the guys that play in the bowl game. Really respect them, because I look at the bowl game as a part of the season. And so you don't want to quit on the team before the season's over. And I really respect the guys that play in these bowl games.
And I think from a NFL perspective, okay, well, like you take a guy like Matt Corral who's playing in the bowl game, from everything I've been told, unless something changes. If I'm an NFL guy, that says something to me in a positive way, that this guy's a competitor. He doesn't want to let his team down. That says a lot to me. Now, opting out of the bowl game has not hindered draft status, so I'm not saying that does, but I think if you play, it does help, if that makes any sense. And Mike Leach had a quote the other day that was really good, and it's kind of how he feels, and this is the side of the point I see, is like if you're opting out, okay, that means you think you're about to have some long 10-year career in the NFL. Okay, what is playing one more college football game going to do to hinder that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's like, well, you could get injured. Well, you know what? You could have a car wreck when you knock on wood when you walk outside and get in a car too. I mean, I don't think you can play the game scared either. I will say this. I've always said this. I've had to have this conversation with players before, is if you start playing the game scared and to not get hurt, and I really had to do it at practice, right? So especially in scrimmage situations, okay, if you're playing the game to not get hurt and you're trying, that's when you do get hurt, okay? And because you're not going into it, you're sitting back, and that's when injuries happen. And so, but you can get, like I said, you can get hurt just as much these days off the field as you can on the field. And so I just don't believe in going through life. I don't know. It's just a bad mojo. It's going through life scared. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. So, but anyway, you know what time it is, DJ? We're going to talk a little.
It's pick time.
Pick time with the early bowl games. All right. So this is what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to pick 5 bowl games. Okay. Between, I guess they start this coming Friday, and they go. We're going to go through the 22nd. So the 22nd is the Army-Missouri game, because then we'll have another episode coming out after that. So we'll go through that. Okay, DJ, as always, because I have mortally sucked all year long. Okay.
Okay.
You know, but I might as well. If I've sucked all year, this is kind of like a new season. So I'm going to see if I can get some bowl game mojo going. And see if we can get some money going for the fans of Home Visit. So I'm going to let you start it off, though. Go ahead, Bo.
All right. First game that I'm going to select here is Western Kentucky, Appalachian State in the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. Okay?
Say that real fast 3 times.
Roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. Okay. Okay. And anyway, Appalachian State is favored by 3, and I'm going to take the Appalachian State. I really am. I know that their OC is at Texas Tech, and I think Appalachian State's going to win this game by more than 3 points.
I like it. It's a good pick. I'm also picking this game, okay? But I'm not going against you. I'm taking the over. The over's at 68. My man Bailey Zappi, okay? Listen, if you're a college football fan, which I assume you are watching this, if you don't watch this game, this comes on at 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturday morning. Okay, so bright and early Saturday morning, tune it up. Bailey Zappi, the quarterback for Western Kentucky, I really think this guy is going to be a legit NFL player. Okay, and he may not ever start a game in the NFL, but he'll be a backup for like 46 years. Okay, if he doesn't start. Okay, but this guy is extremely accurate with the ball, can really spin the piss out of it now. But he's came with his offensive coordinator, who is now going to Texas Tech, I believe, right? The Western Kentucky coordinator is going there.
Yep.
But these guys score points, and they score points in bunches. On the flip side, okay, they can't stop a nosebleed right now. Okay, and App State is scoring too. I'm going the over 68. I think that's easy money. I think this is an extremely high-scoring game. Just to give you an idea, the last game every game that they've played, Western Kentucky has played, there was 90 points scored in the last game, 84 before that, 69 before that. I mean, every game they play is over 68 points. I'm going all day long the over 68.
Boom.
All right, what you got next?
Next, I've got UTEP versus Fresno in the PUBG Mobile New Mexico Bowl.
All right, fun fact. Do you know what it's not it's not PUBG, it's PUBG Mobile. Do you know what that is?
No.
Really? You don't know?
No, that's why
your
I call
kids
it
don't
PUBG.
Play? All right, so this is a video game that's on your phone. It's kind of like it's like Fortnite, but with real guns. Okay.
Okay.
And kids play it all the time, but it's PUBG Mobile. It's a fun game, by the way. Me and my man Brendan Chapman used to get after it. We could play.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's in Albuquerque, New Mexico Bowl, and the UTEP Miners are taking on the Fresno State Bulldogs, and the Fresno State Bulldogs do not have a coach. Fresno State is favored by 11.5. I'm going with the UTEP Miners.
Hey, UTEP and UTSA have made you some money this year. They've been good to you.
That's right.
All right, I'm skipping this game. I'm going to the next game, which is the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. The Independence Bowl has changed names more than any bowl game ever. The best one, though, was when back in the day when I was at Auburn, and Auburn played Army in '96 my freshman year. It was the Poulan Weed Eaters Independence Bowl. So the Independence Bowl in Shreveport is UAB versus BYU. BYU's favored by 7. I'm taking BYU to cover more than 7. UAB's really good, but BYU, as we all know, BYU has played a tough schedule and has dominated. Coaches coming back. I think they're really, really good. I like BYU big in this game. And I hate to say it because all my buddies at UAB, but BYU's that's a big task. I mean, they're the 13th ranked team in the country, and they're only a 7-point favorite against UAB.
And I'm picking that same game, and I'm taking BYU too. Oh. And I'm along the same lines as you. That's a 10-2 record on a Power 5 schedule.
Yes.
I mean, they played Power 5 teams week in and week out. That's not 10-2 in a Group of 5 schedule. That's a 10-2 on a Power 5 schedule. And so I'm taking BYU too.
And look, UAB's a good team now. And they're really good on defense. They're good on. They got a veteran quarterback. Tyler Johnson kids play 87,416 games. Okay, Hopkins has kind of taken over the job there for him. But I mean, he's had a great year throwing, and UAB can run the ball. It's to me, it's a matchup deal. BYU's very underrated to be playing in the Independence Bowl, which blew my mind that they even got there. I thought they would get a little better gig than that, but they didn't. So,
right.
All right, see, I'm up. So here we go.
Is some of that because BYU's not in a conference? You think?
Yes, I know. I mean, because
they don't have they have the conference ties.
They got those conference ties, and it's the same thing. It's like now all the bowl games have gone to conference ties, and that goes back to. I wish they'd go back and just let's go to. It'd take care of all the opt outs if we go to a bigger playoff, but.
Right.
But when you're now they're going into a conference, right?
Yeah, Big 12.
Yeah, so that'll get fixed, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, my next game is the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by, I have no idea. Is it Stifle, I guess? I don't even know what that is. These bowl games are killing me right now. We should have got us a quick recruiting bowl. You know that? We should have done that. Oregon State is favored by 7. Same kind of along the same lines as I'm going with here with BYU. I just think Utah State's a really good football team. I mean, they've won 10 games or 10-3. But I'm going with, I think Oregon State's going to be able to run the football and control the game a little bit, good on defense. I'm going Oregon State -7 against Utah State.
I am picking that same game, but I'm going the other direction. I was pretty impressed, Utah State, in that Mountain West Championship game. You know, San Diego State is a good team, and Utah State just completely destroyed them. And I think that they're playing good football right now. You know, Blake Anderson's got them rolling, and I'm going with the Utah State Aggies.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of options on this when I picked this game. I really almost went the way because, you know, the bowl games, I've always said you got to, you know, opt-outs you got to pay attention to, but also the team that wants to be there. And Utah State, after winning one game, they're going to want to be there. I think that's probably, I don't know. You're probably right on that one, so I'm going to stay with my Oregon State to see if I can catch up, but you're probably right on that one. All right, my next game is the one bowl game that's basically stayed the exact same sponsor since it's been out, and that's the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. So this goes to the Sun Belt champ, and the 12-1 Louisiana Raging Cajuns are playing Marshall, the 7-5 Marshall Thundering Herd. And ULL are 5-point favorites, and I'm taking ULL -5. Even though Billy left, they hired a coach on staff. I think there's going to be a lot of continuity. I think a lot of those guys are going to coach in the bowl game, minus Billy, I think. So I really like what they're doing there. I think the kids, it's one last go out for those guys, and this will be a Raging Cajuns home game. They travel extremely well considering it's in New Orleans. They always do when they play there. I love ULL -5 against Marshall.
I think that's a good pick, but I'm not choosing that game. The game that I'm going with, and I know this is an emotional pick, but I still believe it, is Kent State is playing my Wyoming Cowboys in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, okay? If you don't like warm weather, this is the bowl game you go to, okay? Okay, if you don't like warm weather, you like the cold, okay? You like snow, you like the snowmobile, you like the snow ski, okay? Then you take yourself to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Wyoming is favored by 3. And they're going to win this game by more than 3. I mean, this is the Wyoming Cowboys, okay? These guys are tough. They're smart. They're good looking, all right? And they're going to win this game by more than 3 points.
How did I know you were going to pick that game?
Hey, there's no bias in that one either. No bias at all, you know?
No bias.
Yeah.
All right. My next game, I think it's my last game, if I'm not mistaken. I'll pick another one if it's not. Is Missouri and Army. Army is favored by 3.5. Okay? But that's not where I'm going on this one. I'm going the over. The over is at 58.5. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the over. Okay? I don't think Missouri can stop a nosebleed running the football, and they're fixing to see a brand of football they haven't seen probably ever. And up front, I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. And at the same time, I think Missouri on offense is going to be able to score some points based on athletes. So I'm going the over 58.5. I think that's a very safe bet. So I'm going Missouri Army over at 58.5. Hey guys, make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Home Visit Siskey on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to Home Visit. Subscribe, leave us a 3-star review. We're going to be putting the videos out, the full video episode out on YouTube this week. Make sure you give us all your thumbs up and likes and all that good stuff. And guess what, DJ? Until next time, take care.
We'll see you again. Take care.